Hey, what's up, my peeps? Soccer Coach TV here, Shaun Green. I'm still in sunny Barbados right now, and I'm reaching out to my great friend, Christian Benjamin. He's a founder and owner and president of keeperstop.com, one of the greatest websites where you can go and buy everything goalkeeping, from gloves to shorts, you name it. He's going to explain that to you. But also, he's one of the best keeper coaches that I've ever seen. Hey, good afternoon, Christian. How are you, my friend?
Good. Thanks for the invite. How are you?
It's hot out here. It's like 95 degrees out here, my friend.
You're in a different longitude and latitude than I'm in right now. I miss you. I haven't seen you in a while.
I know. I'm actually trying to do the best to enjoy myself, and make use of my time learning a lot of new skills on the computer. But Christian, what is I asked Mick this yesterday, a good friend of mine. What is the one thing that you think will stay with you after the pandemic? What lesson have you learned that will stay with you?
There's a couple of things that I've learned. Obviously, personally, I think that most important is how much you value your relationships and how important those relationships are to your well-being and the well-being of others. So, and I think that translates, not only from your immediate family, but at keeperstop.com, we help influence and educate a lot of goalkeepers, and the number of goalkeepers, the families, the goalkeepers themselves that have reached out to us asking for help or asking for recommendations on training or what have you. It made me realize how important these personal connections we make as individuals. Like you and I've spent more time with you than I've spent with my wife sometimes. And then the impact that we have as public figures like yourself, that the impact that we have on others. And, I need that information and I need that interaction, and they need it as well. So the importance of that human connection, that social connection, is what I'll really take away from this. How much I really do need it and I value it, and the importance that it brings to others as well.
Well, Christian, it's great advice. And, as you know, on Coach TV, we've got fans all over the world who watch this show, who follow me online. And last week, I just randomly, out the blue, people email me in touch all the time. I just randomly FaceTimed them. They didn't know I was calling them. And, this a great guy in England, his son's a big fan of Soccer Coach TV. And we talked. We had a great conversation out there. And then I called this other young man who's a young coach out in Nepal. And I got to meet his mum, got to meet his brother, and he was thrilled. And it was a great way just to reach out, like you said, getting that, going back to those personal connections. Christian, one thing I've always loved about you, and as a company, but as a person too, is that you're a really creative thinker. You approach problems and you approach life very creatively. And that's what I've always admired about you. Let me ask you something about that. How do you go about creative thinking? Is it something you'd actually take a block of time and say, I'm going to think of new ideas? Or is it, for you, is it just a split second, or is it a combination?
It's a combination. I mean, I think, all of us have, different ways of spending our time. I spend a lot of my time thinking. The most important person that a mentor of mine, also, not only Shaun Green, but Dan Gasper, said the most important person is yourself, right? Is the one person that you have to spend the most time. So I enjoy spending a lot of time thinking, whether it's in the car, whether it's, before a session, whether it's in the bathroom, wherever it is, rather than being on your phone, get immersed in your thoughts. So within those thoughts, there's some great things that come out, but there's also some bad things that come out of them as well. So I spend a lot of time thinking. But then you also do, a lot of creativity comes from preparation. Today you sent potentially some conversations of, topics of conversation, and I sent a couple back to you. And what it does is just gets the juices flowing. So I do think within creativity, there is in some respects a need for a framework, at least like, hey, this is the problem. What are the solutions? Or this is the problem. How can we fix it? So at least starts the wheels turning. And it may not be immediate, but at least something is going on. I mean, our brain is so complex. I could be thinking about something that I did last week that I didn't know the answer of, and I'm going to be, taking my dogs for a walk and, enjoying the breeze and the smell of the grass, and that answer is going to come to me, or an answer to a problem. And we have to be ready to accept whatever creativity it is whenever it comes, be able to write it down or compartmentalize it, put it back where you can utilize it later.
Well, Christian, as you know, our audience is huge, nearly 200,000 followers on social media, particularly YouTube. And thank you, my peeps out there, appreciate it. I was invited down to YouTube to get a tour of YouTube down in New York City, and the place is absolutely huge. And you got to go through security and get an ID and everything when you go through. And one thing that impressed me about Google was when you walk into where all the offices are, hundreds of offices, the offices don't have, concrete walls or brick walls. The offices are actually made of glass. Okay, so all the offices are transparent. You can actually see, the person working next door, the person, 50 feet away from you. And what happens is that when you work for Google, it's mandatory that you spend a few hours a week. I don't know what it is, 4 or 6 hours during your working week, not doing the project that you're assigned to, but just to sit back. And in those 6 hours, they ask you to think about something totally different.
Great.
Come up with some new ideas. They actually pay them to be creative. The point is they do allocate time. And I think that's important because I was talking to a young man in California yesterday, Artur, great player in the MLS, super guy, and he wanted some advice and about how he can move further in his coaching career. And I told him about, you've got to think out the box. You can't be copying everybody ideas. You use that as a ground frame, but then move on. Christian, let's talk everything about goalkeeping, okay? First question I've got for you on goalkeeping is, do you have to be an absolute crazy person to play in goal? You have to be mental.
Of course there's, I think with any competitive athlete, there has to be some switch, right? That was a misconception, I believe, the crazy goalkeeper. What we do is brave. I don't think it's crazy, diving after a ball at somebody's feet or fighting for a ball in the midst of 10 other players in a cross. I think that's bravery rather than being crazy. The misconception is craziness. You have to have a screw loose. A goalkeeper actually has to be the calmest one on the field, because you have to be able to assess the situation, the possible outcomes, and keep everybody in front of you on a level playing field. This type of ups and downs, there may be peaks in performance, but then there's also the valleys. There's lulls in performance. As a goalkeeper, you have to try to maintain that middle line. So no matter what happens, whether you make a big time save or you make a mistake, you have to try to maintain this middle area here. And so that's what's important about being a goalkeeper is you think fast, but it's not in a chaotic way. It's really, it has to be a fluid train of thought. It really has to be something that the goalkeeper themselves can ground themselves in, so that they can deal with the highs and the lows of making a great save as well as making a mistake, but also instill confidence in front of them. Because you don't want a goalkeeper banging on the goalpost. And I did that as a young goalkeeper without proper instruction. I was a maniac. And then your back four are looking at you like, what the heck is wrong with this guy? So like any leader on or off the field, you have to have, the belief in yourself, the confidence, and that's not a crazy person. It's not highs and lows. It's somebody that, regardless of the pressure, you get the same person.
Christian, when I look back on the teams I've had over my whole career, thinking about it now, it surprises me how many of my captains have been goalkeepers.
Yeah, they're leaders. They're people when the pressure counts. They're the ones that can take the team on their back and say, you know what, come on, lads, let's do this. Or ladies, come on, we can do this. And that goalkeeper is that point of reference, is that leader on the field. Even if they're not the captains, they are still a vocal leader. They're that servant leader on the field. They lead by example, and they lead when it comes to what they do on the field.
What is the one? If you had to take one skill, what is one skill that is vital to be a goalkeeper? Pick one.
If I had to pick one, and it would have to be the mental side of the game. That is undertrained and underappreciated in all of sports. Forget about goalkeeping. Goalkeeping, like being a quarterback, like being a pitcher, I mean, those are leadership positions, a lot of pressure on them. The mental side of it, to be able to stay focused for 90 minutes. When's the last time that, and this is, rhetorical question, but when's the last time you sat down and, had to concentrate on one thing for 90 plus minutes? That's really hard. For professionals, that is really hard. For youth, and we blame youth goalkeepers for making mistakes because they weren't paying attention. Pros have trouble doing it. So the mental side of the game, to keep focused, to keep that confidence that you have in yourself, and that all is that mental preparation for the game. That when you make a mistake, you don't lose your cool. When you make a great save, you're not taunting them and whatever else. It's
let me throw something in here. What makes you so special? What makes goalkeepers so special? You get from colleges to professional teams, not so much in the youth, but you're starting to get there. Why do you think you're special? You need a special coach. You need one-on-one coaching. Why doesn't the left fullback get a one-on-one coach? Why doesn't the center midfield player get a one-on-one coach, or the striker? Why do goalkeepers have specialized coaching?
All right, now it's the big guns.
Yeah,
now
I'm ready.
My mommy says I'm special, first off. So no, so goalkeepers, because of there's so much that goes into it, from the mental side of the game to the physical requirements, to the technical and the tactical requirements, goalkeepers are different. They use their hands. Everybody else on the field, 20 players on the field, use their feet. Goalkeepers use their hands. The technical considerations of no other player is diving, no other player is punching a ball. Tactically, no other position is dealing with a one-on-one situation, and you have to protect this big area of the goal, 8 yards by 8 feet, that's a huge area and a huge consideration. So, and also on top of it, you are the last defender and the first attacker. Yeah. So that alone should require, some psychology and social work because of just that pressure alone. But then you add the physical and decision-making requirements on top of that. A goalkeeper, from the time that they learn the position to the time that they retire, introduced to the position to the time they retire, are still learning. They're still learning about themselves. They're learning about how to deal in certain situations. Players evolve. Field players evolve. They hit the ball harder. Balls have evolved because, they move faster now and they move all over the place. Goalkeepers are constantly having to evolve to the changing requirements of the game. Them learning tactically how to solve problems for athletes, field players that are becoming bigger, stronger, and faster. I don't think there's enough training done for goalkeepers. I mean, why?
Sorry, go ahead.
No, I'm just saying that's why. One of the reasons why I started Keeper Stop was this educational side. I didn't have it as a kid. I had to learn on my own. Now I've committed my life to educating goalkeepers about equipment and helping them be more confident on the field as players.
I've been fortunate. For decades, I've always had a goalkeeper coach, and you were my goalkeeper coach for many years, and one of the best in the world at doing what you do.
10 plus long.
10 plus long years as my assistant goalkeeping coach. And he is absolutely top class, and I'm biased, obviously, but I've seen a lot of goalkeeper coaches. And I've been fortunate. I mean, Danny Gasper was on my staff too as an assistant. Danny went on and he was goalkeeper for Portugal national team and Iran and you name it. But listen, if you're fortunate to have a goalkeeping coach, that's great. What about the coaches out there who are watching Soccer Coach TV now, watching this, and they don't have a goalkeeper coach. They're coaching a U14 girls team or a U14 boys team, and it's just them and another father or something. You don't have a specialized goal. How do you integrate your goalkeeper to keep them, to challenge them, one, okay, and to two, making sure that their needs are being served?
Yeah, I mean, here, I'll step back for a second. One of the things that I would always recommend every organization, travel organization, to do is, first off, you need goalkeepers to train. You don't want to just train a field player that feels like they lost a bet and they're put in goal because nobody else will do it. I've been doing this a long time, from youth to semi-pro to what we did at Central. And I think it's important to, show goalkeepers the positive side of it. And it's got to start at a young age. So first thing I would say is, as soon as kids are playing competitive soccer, I did it around U9. I would have everybody in a team become a goalkeeper, right? So everybody in the team.
Love it.
Because, we say everybody should learn every position. Well, goalkeepers should learn every position as well. And I think even the best striker will work a little bit harder and will have more respect for a goalkeeper if they had to deal with what they did for even a minute.
Right.
So what we'll do is set up like a training session where they're doing fun diving exercises. They're doing catching or agility, balance, coordination exercises, distribution exercises. It's a whole fluid event. And the goalkeepers, the field players, are all jumping around. They're having fun. Why do people become goalkeepers initially? Is they love diving. They love jumping around. That's what we do naturally as humans.
So, Christian,
right?
while I'm diving, quick question while I'm thinking about it. Does field turf help goalkeeping, or is it a hindrance in terms of impact on the ground?
I think that it hurts soccer as a whole, truthfully. I mean, I don't know. I mean, you've read the stats on, different things about cancer and such. I know what it feels like being a coach on a field that has a heat index of 110 degrees. We are stronger and we are faster on turf. We are stronger and faster in general, but on turf, we're stronger and faster than we typically would be on grass. But we also have the deceleration issues, where I've seen a lot of goalkeepers and field players alike. We've seen them, Ben Knight, at Hartford, ripping his ankle apart. I've seen goalkeepers break their legs in half because they've gone after balls, breakaways, and a field player's got his foot in the ground and the goalkeeper slides through him, and that's it. It's just, for me, turf in general, yes, and maybe I'm a purist, but it is cheaper to maintain potentially over the life. That still argument is up, and it's always great, and you can use it no matter the temperature or the condition. But I think there is a sacrifice, and we at Central have had goalkeepers that had to stay out training sessions because of raspberries that have gotten infected because of just the nature of turf. So, we could have a whole conversation on this, but.
Okay, Christian, a couple more questions for you. These glasses on. What goes through a goalkeeper's mind during a penalty kick?
SHIT? No, we try to game them a little bit. Goalkeepers train PKs. We all have our approach to it. Some goalkeepers guess, some goalkeepers react. We try to look at the cues of the field players. So it really depends on what the strategy is between the goalkeeper coach. But at the end of the day, we're not supposed to save it. It's, 90% or whatever that statistic is that the field player is going to make it. If we can get it, we just have to hope they make a mistake. So I would say, be active, be alert, be ready, stay on your line. And then whatever side you think it's going to be on, because that is what they've shown, whether the ball has been kicked there or whatever, you react and you make your best effort at it. In college, I saved 3 out of 5 over a 2-year period, and it was just based on reacting to field players kicking the ball incorrectly. They want to hit into the side netting, but the reality is there's still a technique that's involved. Maybe they slipped, maybe they got nervous. We've gotten knocked out of tournaments before over PKs.
Oh my God, it's a horrible way to go out. But Christian, I'm with you on that one. I believe in reacting to the ball, because It's amazing how many times I've seen on a penalty kick situation where the goalkeeper's guessed and the ball just goes right down the middle. It's not even tucked in the other corner. Had he just held his ground, he probably would have saved it, or he saved it with his foot. All right. One of our viewers who wrote in a while back said, can you name 2 tips on defending a corner kick for a goalkeeper? If you give a young goalkeeper some advice, 2 bits of advice when you concede a corner, what should you be doing?
First thing is, when you concede a corner, the first thing that you want to do is you want to organize the players in front of you. That is done with your coaching staff or with your team during training to know where you want players to set up. You want to be organized. Everybody just knows their roles and responsibilities. Are you doing zonal defending? Are you doing man marking? Do you want somebody in a front post or back post? So that organization is critical because now you have people in your area that are doing the work for you, right? You're empowering others to be successful by being a good leader and organizing.
Look at my eye there, sorry.
It was beautiful.
I was crying. Story.
And then the second thing is that, you know, you react to the ball. What we always say in goalkeeping is the decision is early, but you react late. You never want to just think the ball is going to go near post and you run and you're like, oh no, keeper, and the ball sails over past you. Mm-hmm. So you want to catch that ball at your highest point. So again, is wait a second, determine the flight of the ball, call keeper, and then you commit to it. So again, decision early, keeper or away, and then attack it at your highest point. So it's that decision making. Just don't guess and don't run early because then the goal is wide open and then you leave your team stranded.
Chris, what's the best save? I know you've seen a million. What's the best saves you've ever seen in your life? Your favorite save of all time?
The favorite save of my life that I've seen is actually, and again, most important person you know is the one that I've made. Right? Is like you can watch what others make, and that's great, but until you do it yourself, that's when you really start to feel the joy. It's like having your own child or whatever.
Right.
It's like you don't know what love is until you have your own child. And I now know how much my parents love me because I have my own child. Well, I've made upper 90 saves before. And there's one in particular that I was in high school and I just started playing. I was a late bloomer for goalkeeping. I was a baseball player beforehand. I did a million sports. I was just very athletic and I wanted to play with my buddies. And it was my junior year, and the ball, you know, was hit from 20 yards out, but it was hit off of a bounce, so off a volley. He mishit it, and the ball went over my left shoulder into the top corner. And the one thing I had was just pure athleticism and speed. Right. I took a couple shuffle steps, one big step, high hand, and knocked it out of bounds. It was like they couldn't have hit it better accidentally. Uh-huh. And I actually didn't really know what I was doing until I was in the air. I'm like, holy crap, I made the save. I'm even getting goosebumps talking about it now because that's when I first started and I practiced this. I was like, when am I ever going to do this? And then that's when preparation met opportunity. It was there. My instincts kicked in. My athleticism kicked in. And my teammates, while the corner kick's about to happen, they're picking me up and they're like, oh my God, how did you do that? And that was like junior year of high school. That is a save, among others, have stuck with me. And the reason why that one is because I didn't have the belief in myself yet. I trained it, but it proved to me that, hell, I could fly the friendly skies like the best pro goalkeepers. Where's that towel again? Come on.
I would still like to see the video evidence so I could review.
The fish was this big.
I've seen you playing goal, Christian. You're a hell of a goalkeeper. So, question. How do you get more players to play in goal? How do we need more goalkeepers out there? How do we get it? How do you convince somebody to play in goal?
We covered a little bit of part of that before. Is introduce it at an early age, but to expand on that is introduce it at an early age. And again, like every coach, we shouldn't be about wins and losses. It's about the development of the player on and off the field. Within that experience, that learning experience, there's going to be successes and failures. And we always talk to goalkeepers that it's absolutes. You either make the save or you don't, and you either fail or you succeed. Well, we have to think about it is that when they make a decision, they're learning, and we can't judge them based on that one mistake. So like we do with field players, oh, hey, you'll get it unframed next time, or, you know, hey, the pass will be better next time. We have to be just as positive with goalkeepers. You know, goalkeeping, it's because we're the last defender, you know, it's just like, you know, when a goal is scored, your parents' heads go down, your team, their heads go down, and everybody's is so distraught and dejected. You know, coaches and parents alike, we have to, again, if a player enjoys being in goal, enjoys that pressure, enjoys the athletic nature of goalkeeping, encourage them to be there. You know, whether it's a goal, a mistake, I've fallen on my ass many times. I got stung by a bee once playing at Bryant, trying to make a breakaway save, you know, and I looked like I was like slapping at my belly because I had an itch. You know, it's just like those experiences, the opportunities to make a decision, those learning opportunities, they're exceptional, right? I mean, you've heard all the stats from Kobe Bryant and Michael Jordan. It's just like you'll miss 100% of the shots that you don't take. And, you know, I failed more times than I've succeeded. Same thing with goalkeeping. You know, we have to let them know it's okay to try their best and make a mistake. And that starts at a young age, you know, and it carries through to high school and college and to the pros, because goalkeepers, we need them. Just like you need your center backs and your midfielders. You need them to perform over a 90-plus minute period. And if the fans, parents, coaches are all over them, come on, you should have had that. You know, nobody's going to go back into goal ever again. Or if a parent or a coach berates a goalkeeper, we lost because of you. You know, if I ever heard a coach saying that to my kid, I'm going to have a conversation with that coach in the parking lot. Because you know why? It's not one person's fault. It's not one player's fault. And it's surely not the goalkeeper's fault when it's based on wins and losses. So again, it goes back to the positivity of the position. Let them learn. Let them experience. Let them learn from their mistakes. And I think it's a parent's responsibility as well, and coach's responsibility to set a code of conduct, what to say and what not to say.
Right.
You know, I don't want to hear, oh, or you should have had that, or come on, keeper on the sideline.
Yeah.
You know, if I were a coach, and when I was a youth coach, I coached 9s, 10s. I was a director of boys in a Massachusetts club, and I had 9s, 10s, 11s, 12, and an older team. And I talked to parents beforehand, and I said to them, "This is proper encouragement, and this is improper, and I don't want to hear it." And parents were much more supportive of everybody. And we found goalkeeper parents that typically sit away because they're like, oh my gosh, what is my kid going to do? I'm going to have to hear about it.
Right.
Goalkeeper parents are now sitting in the circle with field player parents because they're like, hey, everybody makes mistakes and our kids win together and we lose together. It has to be that team culture, you know, that is built, and it goes from back to front.
They get the final blame, either the villain or the hero. But people forget that, hey, before they score a goal, they've got to beat, 5 midfield players and 5 defenders before. So it's responsibility of everybody. Christian, one last question before we wrap up. What do you think the next big thing in goalkeeping is going to be? In what area? It could be any area.
I think the next big thing in goalkeeping, there's a couple of things. It's the science behind goalkeeping is just mind-blowing. From data analysis to, the tools that they have, from ocular training and memory and, reflex training. So, having the data sciences surrounding the position. I mean, right now you have a lot of people like me that are going based on instincts or what they know. But, at the pro level, we know how many times a goalkeeper dives to the left, dives to the right. We know what their VO2 max is. And I think that the data science of this position, you're going to start to see trickle down through goalkeeping. What I'd love to see, the next big thing in goalkeeping, is that every club, goalkeeping, as you said, goalkeeper coaches are a luxury. I was fortunate enough for you to hire me in 2007, and we had a great career. We made some very average goalkeepers into very good goalkeepers.
Fantastic keepers. Fantastic.
And they were great goalkeepers. They performed well under pressure. They were leaders. They were great humanitarians on and off the field. So I truly believe that I'd love to see goalkeeper coaches not just be an afterthought. The person that gets the goalkeepers in isolation, trains them in isolation, is paid less. We are just as important of a member of the coaching staff as anybody else. Championships are won on defense.
I remember what, Christian, you were with me for 10 years as my goalkeeping coach and assistant coach. All the games we played in that 10 years, did I ever pick the starting goalkeeper?
Never. No.
I always left that responsibility to you,
And that's, I'll be honest with you, where's my tissue now? I mean, this is one of the reasons why we stay together as long as you have. A goalkeeper coach, I was an assistant as well as a goalkeeper coach, depending on the year. And I enjoyed our relationship because I felt like I was a part of your program. I mean, you're a Division I head coach, 20 plus years. You've seen it all. You've done it all, or that's the perception, but you valued my input. And, it translated not just from goalkeeping, but it translated into how we dealt with, our attack or defending, so as a goalkeeper coach, it definitely weaved its way through the fabric of the entire team. And I had much more responsibility. So I thank you for that. And, more goalkeeper coaches need that. I mean, we have a lot of good goalkeeper coaches out there now are becoming head coaches, and we need more of that.
Well, I've always felt as a head coach, your assistant coaches should have a voice on the field, a voice in the locker room. And we're all in it together. We're gonna sink or we're gonna swim together. But listen, Christian, hey, you've dropped some great knowledge on us today. We really appreciate that, and I'm sure it's helped our coaches around the world and a little bit of an insight into goalkeeping from a tremendously experienced coach. If you're interested in finding out more against Christian, how can my fans out there, viewers, get in touch with you if they have more questions? I just want to see what you're about.
Yeah, and we love goalkeeping here. Keeperstop.com was created for goalkeepers by goalkeepers. One of Shaun's former Division I goalkeepers is my managing director, our NCAA tournament, Paul Armstrong.
I hope he's working hard right now and not watching this.
He's probably typing questions to you as we speak, But we're for goalkeepers by goalkeepers. So we have a ton of resources in the training area to help goalkeepers, their parents, or even coaches find drills or exercises or progressions that benefit their goalkeeper. But, we are the experts in goalkeeper equipment as well. So if you have any questions on goalkeeper equipment, contact keeperstop.com. I'm Christian at keeperstop.com. Make sure you're subscribed to our social media channels, which are at Keeperstop. On Instagram, it's at KeeperstopGK. We love what we do. I would rather answer goalkeeper questions than pay bills. So make sure that you guys reach out to us. If you have any questions on youth development to, PK saves, we love what we do here.
And I just want to say you got a great staff there, and especially the content. Chris and his staff create great content. Check out his Instagram. It's some of the best I've seen. The video quality, the production, the graphics, everything. Just the content is excellent. Definitely worth going to. Well, Christian, just want to say to our fans, Soccer Coach TV, because I've told you a million times, your time is the most important thing. And if you take your time to listen to me and watch our shows, bless up, my brothers. Peace out. I am going to make myself a pina colada and then put my shorts on and hit that beach. So until next time on Soccer Coach TV, Christian, you the man. I love you, son. And to my friends out there, next time. Peace out.
Thank you.